Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. After my little talk about the effect of the Jews on the world, we had a few comments that brought in the dark side of that, which of course can't be avoided. If people are human, there's a dark side to whatever they do. We all have a dark side to us, don't we? And sure enough, the Jewish nation, race, whatever you want to call it, I had many years ago, I had a Jewish advisor, mentor, instructor, teacher, who was very influential on me. I admired him greatly, and I asked him, what this is a very naive young man at that time, okay. What is, I'm puzzled. I was living at the time with a roommate who was very anti-Semitic and had all of the dark stories about what they'd done throughout history and why they were ostracized and all of that, and knew all of them. And someone actually wrote to me now and told me of all kinds of stuff that they'd done, that they invented communism and a lot of stuff which may well all be true. I'm not discounting any of it. If we want to dwell on the dark side, boy, we don't have to look much further than the British going into India, Africa, you name it. They went everywhere. Tasmania, they went Canada, America, they went all over because they had the most powerful nation in the world. And boy, did they wield a heavy hand. So no nation gets away with the dark side. But on the light side, I love a good success story. And one of the great success stories of recent times for me was when, and I am a lover of Star Wars, by the way. I love Star Wars. I love all of that. I worked for a company that made movie memorabilia. They made copies of movie props, and Star Wars featured very heavily in the prop replicas that company made. So I am very much enamored by that whole thing and what George Lucas did. But at the time that he put out one of his Star Wars episodes, he spent something like $110 million on producing that epic movie, which I went to and liked. Well, at the same time, there was a young Jewish guy called Adam Sandler. Now, I like Adam Sandler because he has a good sense of humor. Very goofy, slapstick, which I also like. There's always a room for that. I like Laurel and Hardy, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. I like I like all kinds of different humor. But he told of a particular instance when he was traveling, and they stopped at a small cafe, roadside cafe, in a small town, on the edge of a small town, and they were about to order it was a young man, a young teenager came up, obviously doing a side job from studying at college, but he was a little bit nerdy, and he was standing there waiting for Adam Sandler and his party to make that order, and he suddenly looked at Adam Sandler and he said, "You know, you look exactly like that, what's that guy's name? That comedian that you look exactly like him. Do you know the one I mean?" And Sandler said to him, "Yeah, Adam Sandler." He said, "That's the one." He said, "My gosh," he said, "you're the spitting image of me. I've seen his movies, loved them." Then he said to Sandler, "What? Hey, well, what's your name?" And Sandler said, "Adam Sandler." He said, "Wow, how weird is that?" So that's kind of Jewish humor. I like I like the Jewish humour. I used to work a long time ago, when I first came out of the army. I worked in a small club, the Eve Club, on Regent Street in London, and we had a bass player. That was when the bass used to be played like this. And that was Lou Nussbaum, who was a lovable character, very sharp sense of humour. And if you got in there, he had lots of one-liners which were cutting edge, a little bit caustic, sharp. But he would look at your jacket and he would say, "Nice jacket. Can you get that in your size?" And then if you got there even a little bit earlier than you normally do, he'd say, "Couldn't you sleep?" That kind of thing. That was good old Lou. I don't think he's with us anymore. Rest in peace, Lou. But the great Jewish humour that often comes to mind for me was Jackie Mason. And Jackie Mason had such incredible jokes. I loved it. Jackie Mason recounted some of his history and said that he at one point had offended someone in the entertainment industry who was a mogul in a very powerful position, and for some reason he took offence at something that Jackie Mason said, and as a result Jackie Mason didn't get on any public media for many, many years. He was punished. He paid penance. But on the same time that I heard some of this, I heard him tell about the two Jewish men who were in their 40s, late 30s, 40s. Let me see, John and David. Let's say John and David, and David was the softy. He was the soft-hearted guy, but John was a little bit caustic, maybe a little bit like Lou Nussbaum, a little bit cutting, and rather cold, you know. Well, anyway, David had to travel in his work, but he hadn't travelled for a while and got used to being at home, and he bought a kitten. Well, he bought a tiny kitten that could hardly fit in one hand. And he absolutely loved that kitten, and for about a week it was everything to him. And then he got a call away to work away, and he had to go away, and he was going to be away for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and he was very worried about the kitten. Well, these two men lived with their mother, the Jewish matriarch, and she wouldn't have anything to do with the cat. So he said to John, I have to go away maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's just for 2 or 3 weeks. Will you take care of the kitten for me? Can you just feed it? Because Mama won't feed it. You know, she won't have anything to do with it. So John reluctantly, coldly says, "Yeah, well, yeah, okay." Well, David goes away, and he's away for a couple of days, and he calls up, and he talks to John, and he says, "Hi, hey, how's everything going?" And John said, "It's okay." "Yeah, fine." "Well, how's the kitten doing?" He said, "Well, the kitten's dead." David is shocked. He says, "I don't understand you. You know, you're so cold. You know, I ask you how the kitten's doing, you just come right out with it. He's dead. Don't you have any heart or soul, don't you?" John says to him, "Well, what do you expect me to do? The kitten's dead. You know, what do you expect?" So David said, "Well, you could have prepared me a little bit. You could have said that the kitten got out and it climbed the tree in the front yard, and it got higher and higher, and then it got onto an outstanding branch, and then got on the roof, and then and by that time I'd be ready for it. You know, I'd be ready that something was going to happen." He said, "And then, well, then what?" He said, "Well, then you could say that the cat it fell off the roof and died." So he said, "Well, okay, whatever." He says, "Anyway, how's Mama?" He says, "She's on the roof." Anyway, I like the slightly darker jokes. So much for talking about a little bit about the good things that happened as we try to do. This is a foreigner living in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Good night. Bye for now.